Hey guys, what is going on? CodedSteele here, and welcome back finally for another App Inventor tutorial. This one is pretty important, and it's going to pretty much line up exactly with what we're going to do for the next few tutorials. But first of all, as you guys probably may have already noticed, I have a completely different desktop here, and the reason why is because I actually have a brand new computer that I purchased to continue with my app videos and whatever else that I'm going to do for you guys. What was basically going on is my last laptop, I was pushing it to the friggin' limits, man. The thing just could not handle what I was asking it to do. So I had to just pretty much ditch the thing and switch over to something that could actually, handle what I needed to be able to do. So this thing is actually 8 times more powerful than the laptop I had before, which is quite an improvement from what I did have. So this thing should be good for a good long while, hopefully, and it should be able to help me ultimately continue to make things better and whatever else. So that is why my desktop is different. Couple of things too. I have to do a little bit of self-promotion, and my apologies for this, but this is my website, which there is absolutely nothing to at all. And I mean literally. It needs some work, but I'm going to continue working on it. Basically, I'm trying to start up my own little mini company type deal. So what I have to ask is if you guys are interested in supporting me and would like to support, the growth of these videos and whatever else, if you could please donate. I'm not gonna actually not if you could please. I'm not gonna ask you guys to donate, but if you guys feel like you wouldn't have a problem donating or whatever, I'd much appreciate it. I'm not gonna ask anybody to donate because honestly, I do not like asking for handouts or asking for money, but any money that I do get through donations will go straight into funding the company and nothing but that, or straight into funding making my videos better, all of that stuff, and nothing but that. So, if you guys are, but if you're still that type of person who's just like, I don't feel like donating because donating really doesn't benefit me, it kind of just benefits the other person on the other end. I get that. I do understand that. You can support me also by buying something from my Tindy Store, which is on www.tindy.com. If you guys are unfamiliar with that or do not have an account there, you can set up an account pretty easily. I know it's very empty right now. I only have 3 items for sale. There will definitely be more to come. I am working on a few right now that probably will be up there in the coming month or two here in the future. And anything that you buy on here is, again, that's just going to support the growth of the store. Ultimately, it's going to make things a lot better. I've got a lot of cool ideas, but everything costs money in this world, unfortunately. And as I get more funds become available to me, I will definitely be improving things. Ultimately, my goal is to build some form of an electronics company. I don't know how big, I don't know how small it's going to be, but that is my goal. And hopefully, I can make that happen. And ultimately, if I can make that happen, things are going to I can make things better for consumers and everything too. So it's kind of my dream, and that's where I'm at right now. So enough with my dreams and whatever else. Let's actually get back to more pressing matters. How to create a custom tiny web database. So if you guys remember a few videos ago, I showed you guys actually how to use the default App Inventor database. Well, if you guys remember, there's actually a problem with that, and it's actually mentioned right here. There's a limit of 1,000 entries. This database is literally shared with everybody in the world. Everybody can use it. And what happens when you use all the tag limits? You're now screwed, and now you don't have a way to be able to make use of this anymore. Well, the way to fix that is to create your own database. Well, how do you do that? That's what I'm going to show you guys how to do. First of all, do not follow these steps. It would absolutely be a waste of your time because they are not very well laid out at all. They're missing some steps, and yeah, just not a good deal. So just follow things exactly as I do them here. And I'm going to quickly just take care of something really fast, and then we'll continue on with the tutorial. Okay, I just had to clear something out so I can show you guys how to do it from scratch. First of all, the very first thing you need to do is download Python. You need to download this version of Python, 2.7. It doesn't matter, it can be 2.7.8 or 2.7.7. I don't think it's really going to make any difference. I downloaded this version. I know this version works, so stick with me. Download the 2.7.8 version. Even though I don't think the earlier releases are going to matter if you download that one instead, still download 2.7. 3.4 or whatever is out. Do not download that one. I cannot guarantee you it will work with the database coding and all that stuff. You have to use 2.7 because that's the only one I know it works with right off the top of my head, and I can show you guys that it does work as we move through this video. So here's the two options you guys are going to do. For you Windows users, or for Windows users, which I'm a Windows user, I'm going to download this. I downloaded the 64-bit version because this version of Windows 8 that I'm using happens to be 64-bit. If you're using a 32-bit version, download this version. This program database, you can kind of just skip right past that. I don't really think that's going to be useful for you. Mac users, obviously, you're going to want to download one of these, whatever. So whatever you did, make sure you download the appropriate one depending on what your operating system is. Like I said, for me, it was the 64-bit version. After that is installed, you're going to run through, you're going to install your Python, whatever else, blah, blah, blah. Everything's going to install correctly. Once it installs, you might want to restart your computer so all of the changes take effect. And that's just to make sure that there's nothing screwy and whatever else, because the next few steps, it's actually going to make use of Python to be able to do certain things. So it's going to be important that everything works correctly and does exactly what you need it to do. So with all of that stuff finally out of the way, that is that. The other thing you're going to need to do after you're done with this is actually what is listed as the first step on here, and that's going to be download Google App Engine. Do not click the link here. It is a waste of your time. It's going to take you to the wrong page anyway. So copy the link I have here. Both of these links, I will make sure to put them in the video description. So it will take you, you guys can just easily click it, and it will take you directly here, and you guys don't have to worry with anything about finding the links. But this will take you to this point right here. Since we're using Python as our app engine launcher thing, we're using Python as our for the app, and we're using the Python app engine launcher, even though there's PHP, whatever else we're using. But for this video, like I said, I'm using Python. We need to download the Python Google App Engine program software, blah, blah, blah. Okay, well, that was weird. All right, so right here, Windows, Mac, whatever, blah, blah, blah. I'm a Windows user. I'm going to download the Windows version of it. Okay, so I download that. I click this. It's going to, if you have Google Chrome, it'll pop up down here, whatever. Install it. Everything will go well there. Something weird did happen when I installed this, though. After I got done towards the end, a box appeared off the screen. I don't know why. Sometimes when I install programs, it does that. I'm not entirely sure why that happens. It's like, it must be like a bug or something. But if that happens to you, don't panic, don't worry, everything's fine. Just right-click on the application and just say close, and you should be good to go. It should install down here just fine because this is the Google App Engine Launcher right here. Everything should install just fine, no glitches, no problems. Hopefully that's the case for you guys. I'm trying to make this as spelled out as I possibly can because, like I said, these instructions are not exactly the greatest instructions in the world. So after you have both of those things installed, those are all of the installations you really should need to make this stuff work the way it's supposed to. The next thing you need to do is you need to download the sample code folder. So when you click this, and I'm not going to click it because I already have it downloaded, it will download something into your downloads directory that should be named Custom Tiny Web Database. You can change the name of it if you want, whatever, but it's going to download a zip file. So yeah, cool, you know, you downloaded yourself a zip file. You're going to need to take that zip file and extract it. And the way you do that is always just by right clicking, and there should be, it's not here for me because this is not a zipped up thing, but there should be something that says extract all, just extract it, and it should just give you the plain old folder in your downloads directory as just custom tiny web database. So once that's done, you can delete the zip folder if you want from your downloads. You don't need it anymore, and you have the regular folder, which is custom tiny web database. And then once you have that, you can close this out, and you're pretty much good to go at that point to continue with the next few steps we got to do. The next thing you want to do is launch Google App Engine launcher. And don't be alarmed if this warning box comes up, because all it's doing is basically telling you it cannot find the Python path. Not a big deal. We're going to tell it where to find the Python. Like it says here, the launcher preferences can be modified by edit preferences. Oh, well, let's take care of that so this thing doesn't pop up anymore. Go to edit and go to preferences, and you guys saw me deleting this before probably. It says Python path, a path to a Python executable. Well, when we installed Python before, it asked us to select a directory to install it in. Well, my directory just so happens to be right here, Python 2.7. So make sure you guys know exactly where your path is when you install it. I should have mentioned that beforehand, but hopefully it probably will install yours in the exact same location right here on this inside of your C drive. And then you can just click Python 2.7 and then click on the Python application right here and then click open. And then it will populate this field right here. Then you can just click OK, and you can close this window out, and then you can reopen it. And all of your errors should be gone. That window didn't pop up. Everything should be good to go. Now, the next step we need to do is add an existing application. Not create a new application, add an existing application. So in order to add an existing application, you need to go to your custom tiny web database folder. Keep this in mind. You guys see downloads, custom tiny web database, custom tiny web database. You need to click on this custom tiny web database. If you click on this one, and I say OK, and I say add, specified path doesn't look like an application. Basically, it's saying it cannot find this folder, but it's going to allow it anyway. Well, okay, cool, you allowed it, but it's showing up in red. That means it doesn't think this is an application. In fact, it knows this isn't an application. It's just a folder path is what it's finding. So make sure that you select the second one down inside of this thing. So as I was saying, downloads, custom tiny web database, the second custom tiny web database, and then click OK, and then click add, and everything should be good. You guys see a gray box here. That means we are good to go. Everything is working the way it's supposed to work. If you did everything correct up to this point, when you highlight this, you should get this green run button that pops up and all this other stuff that pops up as well. If we click run right now, it's actually going to run our application. So I'm going to click run, and boom, our application is now running right now. Well, where is it? We can't see it because it's running inside of the web browser right at this moment. So how do we see it? Well, the way we can see it is by this. We know the port number right here. So on your computer, you can open up a tab and you can type in the words local host. And as you can see, I already have it pop up for me because I've already tested this beforehand. And I do localhost 8080. I click on that and it takes me to a blank page. Okay, don't be alarmed. This is actually a good thing. This is actually a good thing that it's taking me to a blank page. And the reason why is because this blank page here is our application. I know it doesn't seem like much, but trust me, in a second here, it's going to be pretty freaking awesome. If I click the stop button here and I attempt to reload it, you can see that nothing pops up. It says the web page is not available. That's because we canceled the application. So you can indeed see that this is working, but nothing pops up. Like I said, that is a good thing. That means the application is doing what it's supposed to do. At least this has worked before when I went through and did this. So if you get nothing popping up, that is a good thing. It means you've done everything right to the second, or to this point. If you get hello world up here, you might have selected create a new application. So you need to go back and do add an existing application and follow the steps that I outlined previously. So if you follow everything correctly up to this point, you should be right here with me. And we are very, very close to getting this launched on the internet here in just a little bit. I have one thing that I got to take care of, guys. I got to pause and I will be right back. Alright guys, I am back. I just had to fix my internet so I could actually get back on the web. So now, like I said, if you followed me through to this point, we're right there to getting this thing up on the web. There's just a few more things we got to do. One of them involves this dashboard here. So we actually have to go to blah blah blah. This thing's telling me I don't have permissions. Don't tell me I don't have permission. I have permission. All right. Okay. Alrighty. So, as you guys can see here, I've already tested this before in the past. I had this my project here, and I had this here. This was actually a goof up on my part. This was a project gone wrong. But we're gonna want to create a new project, and I'm gonna leave the project ID the same here. And the reason I'm doing that is because you have to create a unique project ID, and I failed before. It's really hard to find a unique project ID, probably because there's just so many weird things out there on the internet, and it's just really hard to create a unique one. So it generates one by default that will work for you. If you don't like the name, you can change it, but be warned that if you do, it's going to say stuff about all of the stuff has to, or hyphens and blah, 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 blah. So I'm just going to go back to what it had, 839, because I know that's going to work for me. And I'm just going to tell it create. And it will go ahead and it's going to create this project for you. And it's going to take a little bit. It's not an instantaneous thing, unfortunately. But once it is finished, it will go through and create it for you. And it looks like it did it. There we are, my project 1. So my project 1 has been created. Great. We are right to, we're getting even closer now to having a database here in just a second. We need this mindful genius copied here. And the reason we need that is because inside of our thing, and I really do got to get Notepad++ installed on this computer. I have Notepad regular, and I really hate Notepad regular, but it's what I've got to work with, so whatever. For now, I'll just deal with it. Make sure you select all your files, and you got to click on this app.yaml. It's going to load this app.yaml up for you. Whoa, wait a minute, guy. Application. Okay, yeah, this is right. This is right. You need to change this to whatever the name of your application is. Mine is Mindful Genius 839, and then you need to resave that. And after you resave that, that is pretty much it. We are ready to launch right now. So now I can go to the dashboard, or not dashboard. Why did I go to the dashboard again? We're already done with the dashboard. Now we are ready to deploy. So deploy, you're going to want to click the deploy key. And in order to deploy, you have to have a Gmail account. So I have a Gmail account, which is Neil@gmail.com, obviously. and then you need to type in your password. And what it will do then is it's going to go through this iteration of things and tell you app.yaml line 1 column 32 process exited with code 2. Oh, it's going to give you an error. Great. Let me try to figure out why. Just a second, guys. Alright guys, it looks like it is working. I will show you guys what I did in just a second to fix that issue. Checking if updated. Bloom. There we go. Looks like it did it. Should be simple. Blah blah blah. Python 2.5. Just do it free. Okay. It looks like it did it. So what I had for a problem was my app.yaml file was kind of screwed up. So what I did to fix that, I screwed up. I don't know why I used Notepad. I just figured out you can click this edit key and it actually makes things a lot easier. Make sure your file matches this file 100% with the exception of your application name, which will be unique compared to this. Yours will be whatever it is. Mine's Mindful Genius, whatever, blah, blah, blue, blah. I don't really care. But make sure that that matches what you selected for your actual database before when we were in the dashboard and whatever else. So make sure that matches that. If that matches that, you should be good to go. So this thing should have deployed. We can check now by doing mindful, just pasting it. There, that's easy enough. Let's just, yeah. appspot.com. I think that's how you spell it. Right? Yes, maybe. Yes, appspot.com. This should take us directly to our database. Boom! Yes, we have a database, guys. So as you can see, it says App Inventor for Android Custom Tiny Web Database Service. This web database service is designed to work with App Inventor for Android and the Tiny Web Database component, blah, 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 blah. This is our database. So ultimately what we can do here is we can go ahead and create a tag and we can set it to a value. I'm going to set it to store this and I'm going to say store the value and the server will send this to the component blah. As you guys can see here now, we actually have the tag and the value, and it even gives you the time it was created, which, okay, cool, I don't really care about that, but pretty freaking sweet. This is our database. Ultimately, App Inventor now can talk to this database. I could use this database for something. I probably won't because I just publicized this database to everybody who's going to watch this video, and they could come in here and modify it. So it's not going to be very useful for me to have this or use this database. So probably not a good idea to use this database, but it is there and I can store values and whatever else inside of it. So ultimately we can use this now for all of our applications in the future for storing stuff and whatever else. We can literally create, to my knowledge, you can create a lot of tags in here. I don't know what the maximum number is. I am pretty sure it's probably over 1,000, which is what the other database was limited to. Keep in mind though, however, this has no security. So if you disclose your AppSpot code and somebody types it incorrectly, they can access your database and screw with your information in there. Not exactly optimal, because now they can manipulate your application to make it do things that you might not normally want to do. So in a game, if you had it to where the codes were saved for the position of where X's and O's were, if you were doing a tic-tac-toe, which is I think one of the games where I'm probably going to show you guys how to make here soon, how to make an online tic-tac-toe. But this would save the locations of that stuff, and it would ultimately kind of screw the person over because they could win the game by manipulating values in the database. Probably not exactly optimal. So you want to keep this a secret since there's no login name and password. But other than that, this can be used to store any information, and you can also retrieve that information from this database. Probably in our next video, that is what I will show you guys how to do, is actually use this database, even though it is exactly the same as using the App Inventor default database. So that is all I have for you guys for this tutorial. Hopefully this helped you guys understand it. Sorry for that pause that I had there in the video. If you have any questions, please leave a comment below and I will answer your question. As always, please like, comment, subscribe, and I look forward to seeing you guys in your next App Inventor tutorial.